Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Art of Creation show. I'm your host, Rebecca Boswell, and today, as always, we'll be looking at how choice creates, and different possibilities for creating a life and a living that can actually work for you, whatever that is. So today we're joined by special guest Kiran Chandanj, and she is speaking to us today from Australia, originally from India, and she is a facilitator of magnitude in many, many different practices and modalities. And so today I'm really excited to speak with her about, on the topic of moving beyond problems. So going beyond problems, and we're really in for a treat today because Kiran has worked with everything from numerology to tarot to past life regression to Feng Shui to handwriting analysis to Reiki, NLP, access consciousness. There is a list that goes on and on. She also makes her own line of bath salts that can contribute to your journey. So there really is just a multitude of possibilities available. And I'm really excited to have this conversation with you. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you for inviting me to be here today. And I'm so grateful for the space that you create for everybody in this show. And I am sure each person who listens to your shows are amazing.
Yes, and how lucky are we that we get to spend this time with everyone watching wherever they are. And thank you for acknowledging that. It's funny, with these shows, it's easy to think that we're just separate all around the world and in our own little isolated places. And, I may never come face to face with, I likely will not come face to face with many of the people who watch this and yourself included. What would it take? And yet there is that sense, there is that connection that this is creating something and being able to perceive that. So thank you for acknowledging that for all of us. So Kiran, this topic of beyond problems, can you talk to us a little bit about what that is, what that even invites you to, and what that invites us to, and where do we begin with such a huge topic? I thought we like our problems.
Absolutely true. You've just hit the nail. We like our problems so much that we don't want to look beyond that, because this is how this reality functions. That you have to have a problem to fit into this reality. You cannot just have fun for no reason. So this entire thing began when I started introspecting of what would life be like if I had no problems, and the space that the question created was amazing. And I'm like, okay, let's look further. And the more I started questioning that space, the more it shows up. And it's like every problem creates a space for you to step up. It's like the universe saying, okay, time to step up. Okay, time to move on.
Mm-hmm.
And I get one thing over a period of time, over my experiences, be it personal or professional, that the only thing that is constant in our lives is change.
Yeah.
The more we resist it, the more difficult it becomes. So it's like you are hitting an energetic wall by saying you are not willing to move. And the more you hit that wall, the more solid it becomes. And that's where problems show up for us.
Yeah.
And one of the main reasons I got into so many modalities at the same time is that for me, something may work, for somebody else, something may work. So what if you can be the space and create that space where just letting the person know that, hey, if I can be here, so can you. Because I believe one thing about me, that I am really stubborn and rigid. And if something can move and change for me, I'm sure it can change for anybody else.
That's excellent. Yes, absolutely. I get that. It's like when we realize, oh my goodness, look what I just did, or look what I just chose, or look how that changed. And oh yeah, wow, this is actually possible for anyone because I was so resistant. Cool. Yeah, so you're saying that that every time a problem arises, that it's actually inviting us to step up and to choose something or create something greater. Um, but how often do you actually see people responding to problems in that way? Because it doesn't sound quite like how I see a lot of people, and sometimes even myself, approaching problems.
So the the one question that I usually throw at people when they talk about problems is that, can we have fun with the problem? Can we laugh about the problem? Can we actually tell the problem to contribute to us to step up? And they're
Oh,
like, that's not possible. And I'm like, okay, let's try it. Let's do it. What's the worst that can happen? You're already in the problem,
yes.
right? And that's the space I believe which opens up a different possibility for them. That you are already there, you are already stuck according to you.
Yeah.
What's the worst that can happen when you talk about having fun with the problem or asking the problem to contribute to you?
Yeah. Well, you might not have a problem anymore, which would be its own problem.
So, like yesterday, I mentioned to you I was running fever, and I was like, okay, what's right about this that I'm not getting? Where in my life am I not willing to step up? Where in my life am I not willing to show up? And suddenly my body started twitching, and I'm like, okay, body, what is it? Is it even ours? And
Yeah.
immediately that space opened up. So by evening, I was feeling so much better.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I was so grateful for the problem. It was a problem in my world, but it actually allowed me to look at the limitation of me not yet willing to show up.
Yeah.
So just that question, just that space
Yeah.
of what, that, okay, this is me, this is where I am.
Yeah.
What can I step up to now?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. Because how many times do we use problems as a way to either deflect our attention from whatever we're not willing to look at or we don't want to maybe deal with? Or how much do we use the problems as something to tie us up and keep us busy so that we never get to a space where we could actually be choosing freely?
actually, that's true.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I see that happening every day in my life with my clients, with me, where I'm constantly, it's like a nudge from the universe. Hello, step up. Hello, step up. And I'm like, okay, hang in. How much?
Yeah. Yeah.
And there is no limit. There is no boundary of you stepping up. It's like, what if you could step up every day in the morning when you wake up from where you were? And just being in that question is a very different space that creates a different possibility for you.
Yeah, I mean, just I'm getting that difference of just how you begin your day. If you begin your day and just waking up, you have this sense that that alone is a problem, and it's just the beginning of all the problems of your day that you have to get through before you can finally go back to sleep.
Yeah,
That's such a different way. I mean, it just has such a different feeling to it, a different energy to it, however you want to look at it, than, oh yeah, okay, so good morning day. Who am I today? What will I choose today? What would I like to create today? Who will I, who, where, what, when, and will I be? All of those things. What grand and glorious adventures will I choose and have and create
absolutely.
today? Yeah, definitely a different energy. So what about people that they're like, yeah, okay, I get that in general in terms of having a more open mindset, maybe they might
Positive
say,
approach.
yeah, or positive thinking or whatever. And but that doesn't apply to me because my problem is really, it's like a real problem. Like I have a real problem. I maybe, I lost my job, or maybe I'm, had a death in the family, or maybe someone is depressed, or someone, whatever, there's something where it's like, this is real. This isn't just a silly problem. This is a real problem. So how do we begin to make that shift when our problem has already consumed all of the space?
Right. So the first thing I begin is allowing the person to acknowledge that yes, it is a problem for them.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, it is real in their world. So I am not in any way negating that it's not a problem and you're making it a problem. So yes, it is a problem for you. Uh, but when you look at the energy of that particular problem, how solid is it? Or is it changeable at all for you? Or do you think that you can change it?
Mm-hmm.
The minute the person says that yes, it's changeable, but I don't know how, that itself resolves 50% of the issue, because now you have acknowledged the fact that it's changeable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So,
that's already space right there. Yeah.
correct. Most of the people, when they come to you, they don't even want to look at it as a problem that can be resolved. But the fact that they have come to you is that they have a knowing in their world that this is changeable.
Yeah.
And that's one reason I literally sometimes push them to acknowledge that the fact that you are here, your being knows that it's changeable.
Yeah.
And it may take them a while to know that, because they've made it so real in their world. And I totally get that. Probably 7, 8 years, 10 years back, if somebody would have told me that, play with your problems, I would have been, you are stupid. And I totally get that space, because probably 10 years back, if I would have been in a problem, it would have been like real for me, and it basically soaks your entire energy when you focus on the problem.
Yeah.
It's like you become the center around the problem, where there is no possibility available. So when the best thing now, the space that is available for us as facilitators or healers or coaches, whatever you would like to call yourself, the space that is available now, I'm so grateful for each one of us choosing that, because that actually is an invitation for us to let people know that there's a different possibility available.
Mm.
And um, that allows other people to know that yes, I can live this, rather than just living in problems, or rather than just living in issues, or looking at this is not possible, or I cannot have this kind of a life.
Yeah.
So it's more like an invitation of being. And that's the reason I always share my problems, my issues, and how do I deal with it, to let people know that we as facilitators also go through our own shit.
Yeah.
So it's not like, I am sitting as a facilitator and my life is perfect and I have no issues.
Yeah.
And that's one myth I would like to break for each one of us.
Yeah.
That we all go through our own stuff. And one thing I would say is that we are playing the same game, but the only difference is we are on different levels.
Yeah.
And each level has a challenge of its own.
Gotcha. Yeah. So it's the same game, even if it doesn't always look the same to when we see what each other is going through. And so when you're working with people with all of these different modalities, I'm guessing that, they come to you because they have a problem.
Yep.
So then, as a facilitator, when you're working with someone and you're beginning to create that space, you've already said the first step is to just acknowledge what you've defined as the problem, and then acknowledge that you can change it. So then when you're going to that next phase of, okay, so, what can we choose to create to create something different here? Are there certain tools from your various toolboxes that you like to pull in here to get to that next piece?
I
Do you
usually
mix
start.
things up, or how do you like to work with people?
Yeah, so I usually start with a tarot reading to see um, what position the person is in,
Mm-hmm.
like how real, how solid the issue has been already made. And then I start looking at, okay, what can contribute? Um, would a small regression contribute, or would some body work contribute, or would just verbal cognitive work contribute?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it could be as simple as something that happened in the childhood that's creating this problem today.
Mm.
Some belief in the childhood that is creating the barrier today.
Yeah.
So just
Yeah.
acknowledging that, looking at that, and it's more like collapsing the energies together
Okay.
for you to look at, okay, now this is collapsed, now what?
Okay.
And then, if required, we look at a future progression and see that 6 days or 6 months down the line, when a similar thing shows up, how do you deal with it? Are you the same? So it's more like changing the energy of the person
Yeah.
and clearing any blocks in the body if that have been, because every issue or every problem that you have made so solid and real gets locked into some part of your body. So it's like unlocking that part and letting it go.
Mhm.
And that's what creates the space. So it could be a regression, it could be a simple tarot reading, and things can change because, of course, there is cognitive work happening simultaneously.
Mhm.
It could be body work, it could be access bars, it could be NLP. So entirely depends on what space the person has come in with.
Yeah.
Of course, if it's some kind of an abuse, then it's a very different way of dealing with it because the person is already in a very sensitive and a vulnerable space.
Mm.
So it's more like taking care of a 2-month old child
Mm.
compared to an issue of money or an issue of relationship.
Right. So how would you change in the case of abuse or something like that? How would you maybe shift your approach, or what tools would you be using with someone like that?
So when things like these with abuse show up, I would just look at bringing them to a space of peace that it's over.
Mm.
That's the
Mm.
first thing I will begin with. Until and unless they don't acknowledge that it's over, there is no moving ahead.
Yeah.
Because in their space, if it's not over, they will keep creating that again and again and again.
Mm.
So I would start with allowing that space to either vent it out, to cry it out, to um, give them a space where they can actually talk about it without any judgment, because
Mhm.
that's the space that they require when there is an issue of abuse.
Mm.
Another thing is I will start with definitely access bars,
Mhm.
and I will add trifold sequencing system as a process so
Mm.
that if a person is getting into a loop of it, we can break that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
And
how many? Oh, I'm sorry. Keep going.
go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, these problems that we have, how often are we actually recycling some version of the same problem over and over and over again?
Right. And
Yeah.
that's why trifold sequencing system will help a lot, because it helps you get out of the loop. So trifold sequencing system is a body process in access consciousness,
Hmm.
and that allows you to get off the loop, be it a problem of money where you are constantly creating lack, Be it a problem of relationship where you're constantly creating relationships that are not contributing to you,
Mm.
that eventually becomes an abuse to you.
Yeah.
So even lack of money is abuse. It's financial abuse,
Mm.
right? So anything that's occurring again and again and again is a form of abuse that either you are doing it to you to prove that you're not good enough,
Mm.
that you don't deserve, or you allow somebody else to do it on you, which
Mm.
again proves the same thing to you,
Right.
right? But my invitation to you over here is that if we are talking about an abundant universe,
Mm.
if we are claiming that the universe is abundant, you are a part of the universe. And if you are a part of the universe, you are not supposed to be in lack.
Yes.
And you have to believe that you are a part of the abundant universe to allow abundance to flow in your space.
Yeah.
And I think we lose that essence very early in age.
We learn it very early in age, and then we continue to perpetuate it over and over, and then begin to think that's just how it is and that there's no other way to do it.
That's right.
Cool. So the first step really is acknowledging where we have those patterns, or where we are actually creating problems, or maybe comforted by having the problems, hoarding problems. So we feel like we have all our things.
And we fit into this reality, and we are like our parents, and we are like our siblings.
Yeah,
And
that's
we
right.
have things to talk to our friends about.
Yes, yes. So, so if we go beyond our problems and there are no problems, then where does that leave us?
That leads us to playing with possibilities, to creation, to generation, to
Yeah.
actually creating a life that is so different.
Mm,
And it's not that you will not face problems, it's not that you will not face issues, but then no more will you keep banging into it.
yeah.
Just move around it and it's done.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. So instead
and
of it being, of it being greater than you, you're actually empowering yourself to have a choice with, you may not be able to control everything that's happening around you. And you know that there's always some sort of a choice that you can make from one moment to the next to
right,
begin creating some sort of a different possibility.
right. So I will just give you a recent example of moving beyond problems. So Dr. Dane here had come to Sydney for the Being You, Changing the World 3.5 days class.
Mm-hmm.
And um, every class of his has been a major, major, major contribution to my life. And I think this was my third or fourth Being You class. And pretty much on the third day, uh, my son, who's just 21 months old, had very high fever. So he was like running 38.9, 39, 40 the entire night. And
Wow.
I was constantly in the question of what space can I be for him? Um, and I was actually in the morning struggling to wanting to be in the class and yet be there for him. And in that space, I actually, now, of course, this is a problem for every mother to either go to work or be with the son, you
Mm-hmm.
know. And my space was like, okay, I have to be to the class. I have to be to the class because there's something that's going to show up. That's something that's going to contribute to my life. So I did what I had to do, take
Mm-hmm.
him to the doctor. feed him medicine, feed him food. And by the time I reached the class, it was almost lunch break. But after lunch break until evening, the class that was, it was so contributing, and this was like a space for me to step up beyond problem
Mm.
of not getting stuck by saying that, okay, I am going to sit at home and do what's required. So I actually took him with me, and the entire afternoon in the class, he was just sleeping. And
Yeah.
I could actually be in the class, and
Wow.
so could I be around him. So
Yeah.
it's always moving beyond problems and looking at what else is possible rather than getting stuck in the problem that, oh, okay, now I have to be here and I can't do anything else.
Yeah, he's sleeping, so therefore I have to be here. Instead of he's sleeping, great, he'll be easy to hold in class. Right. So when we decide that this is the only possibility, this is the only way, then we're limiting ourselves to all the other things that we could be choosing, like bringing him with you, and then you were able to receive everything from that class.
And I'm
And how much was he receiving, and was it
absolutely,
contributing to him?
absolutely. So maybe he created the fever so that I could take him with me.
So yeah, otherwise you might not have taken him with you. See, smart cookie. So, everywhere that I'm hearing, everywhere that we are having this conversation, it keeps going back to this thing of like, you know, it's like we're here, we have these problems. Beyond it is like this magical, wonderful space. And, all we have to do is choose and create through and, beyond the problems. So what is it? So what is it though that makes it so much scarier to actually have total choice, to actually be in creation, to actually, create the greatness? What about it is so scary or daunting that we would rather create all of these problems, the trauma, the drama, the distraction, the deflections, the stickiness? It's like it doesn't really, it's sort of counterintuitive of like, it's right here, just choose it. And it's like, or you can keep creating all of this that you don't really enjoy. So what is it that keeps us here when it seems like, this would be amazing, and yet why aren't we all choosing it?
Well, my point of view is, if you are in a problem, if you are in a trauma and drama, you can control things, people, and situations around you.
Mm,
But when you are actually having that space and that freedom and that possibility, it's not something that's predictable.
mm,
It's not something that you can put your finger on and say that, okay, from here I'm going from A to I'm going to B.
yeah,
So I think it's more of losing control
yeah,
when you are choosing more of you. It's losing the limited you
yeah.
of what. It's more like losing the definition of who you are,
Mm,
which has been created by you, by this reality, by the projections of what people around you think who you are.
mm,
And that's what doesn't allow you to expand or create more, because then people will not relate to you.
right.
And this is one thing that definitely will happen, is that non-contributing people will just disappear from your life.
That's a
But
pretty awesome side effect.
but the best thing is that even if you have 5 people on 50 people, the 5 people will actually contribute to your life and make it bigger
Yeah.
and make it larger than what you think life is.
Yes.
So if you are willing to have 5 on 50, trust me, you will not regret.
Yeah. Wow. Wow. So just never give up, never give in, never quit.
Never quit.
Choose you no matter what. That's sort of your message. Choose you no matter what. And when you keep doing that, when you keep committing to that, that is the express way to move beyond your problems
There is
to
one
greater
saying.
possibility. Yeah.
Yeah. There is one saying that I always have with me: keep moving. Even if you have to crawl, keep crawling, keep moving. So
Yeah.
it's like, okay, you start running, you're tired, keep walking.
Yeah.
You're tired, keep crawling, keep
Yeah.
moving. Don't give up.
Yeah.
You know, the entire idea is to keep that energy moving,
Yeah.
which will actually allow you to step up one day and say that, okay, I am done, and I'm not willing to live in this reality just because I have to fit in to be something,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
So that's the invitation.
Yeah. And that can be such a big trap, and have so many different ways for us to fall into it, of having to fit in, having to, I mean, how many of the problems that we, are embroiled in come in some way from, being afraid we're not going to fit in, or, trying to fit in, or avoiding, certain consequences of not fitting in exactly right. Um, so yeah, I mean, that's a huge piece, and acknowledging it really is the first step.
Absolutely. Because once you acknowledge, it just kind of, the solidity of the problem just melts away.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Well, suddenly
that,
it's nothing you have to hide anymore.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when so as we begin to wrap up, is there anything else that you would like to pull in here, or any other tools or points of view or little tidbits that you'd like to offer the viewers around this topic, as they are looking at, oh, what are the problems in my life, and would I be willing to play with them, would I allow them to contribute to me, and would I be willing to actually use them as stepstones to be greater? Is there anything else that you would invite them to play with as they are choosing in that new direction?
Sure. So, one thing I would invite you to look at is that how real is the problem?
Yeah.
And if you have made it significant than you, then please destroy and create it. And if you don't know the access clearing statement, no problem. You don't
Yes.
have to. You can just say that, okay, uh, wherever that I have made this problem bigger than me, I give it up.
Yes. I release it. I destroy and create it. Yeah.
Whatever that works for you, even
Mm-hmm.
writing it and burning it works for you, go ahead and do it. There is no right way or wrong way of doing it. It's
Mm-hmm.
just that intention of saying that, yes, there is nothing bigger or greater than me.
Mm. Yeah.
That itself brings back your power.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
a lot of times when I feel powerless, I call upon Archangel Michael and I tell him that, okay, everywhere and to whomever that I have given away my power, can I please take it back?
Mm-hmm.
It's more like I am willing to take it back rather than can I please take it back?
Yes.
It's like I am willing to take it back because it is me who has given it in the first place.
Yeah.
And one invitation I would, or one space I would like you to be in, is acknowledge that you are the creator of the problem.
Yeah.
May sound really stupid, but just acknowledge it, even if it sounds stupid.
Yeah.
And that itself brings you a lot of power to deal with it.
Yeah.
Because if you are the creator, you can uncreate it very easily.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
if you are looking at giving away the power to your problem based on your father or your mother or your sibling or your partner or your children, you will get into the loop of putting it on somebody else rather than,
Yeah.
it's more like it's more like saying that it's me who has created this and I will undo this now.
Yeah.
How is actually the job of the universe?
Mm.
So just give it its job. Say that, okay, universe,
Yeah.
I am going to give this up. Can you show me what possibilities available?
Mm-hmm.
It's like giving away your controls and saying that, okay, I am willing to receive. How, in what way, I don't care.
Yeah. Yeah. And, this is one of those really interesting places where, I think sometimes people will hear talk of being the creator of your reality, being the creator of your life, being the creator of your problems. And it creates a little bit of a disconnect in their world where it's like, well, what about God? What about, does that mean you're a narcissist? Would you think you're the center of the universe? And it's like, but then at the same time, we're saying allowing other things to contribute. And it's like, what if one, there's no separation between, whatever we're calling ourselves,
God.
and everything else. And it's like, so it's like, okay, so if I am the creator of my reality, it doesn't necessarily mean that I'm an individualistic narcissist that doesn't believe in any higher power or even just universal energy. I mean, however you want to look at it, it's actually just how much more empowered we are as beings to tap into all the energies, all the universal energies, everything that is. And when we don't acknowledge how much we contribute to what we create, that's where we get all tripped up. Like, oh, I have this illness. It happened to me. I wouldn't create this illness. It must be, it was this thing that I ate or that I drank or that I was exposed to or that someone did to me, or, it was God's fault, or I'm just unlucky, whatever it is. And so I think sometimes there are some tricky things to reconcile. And what I hear you saying really is just, acknowledging the parts of this that, that maybe have had value to you, or where you have, it has even in some ways contributed to you, or you've perpetuated it, so that those things no longer have a charge that you have to keep holding on to. When we can release that, we can also release the problem and all the pieces and tendrils that have gone out into the different areas of our life. So I just wanted to say that, because I just, I sometimes get these little hits when we're talking on this show. And I get sometimes that there's the people will listen about being a creator, and it's like, and it doesn't mean, when we say that, it doesn't actually negate anything else.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's actually an and it's just another aspect, I guess, of something greater.
Right.
Yeah.
So
At least that's my interesting point of view.
It absolutely makes a lot of sense, because that's what I told you. Each to its own. What will work for you, take what will work for you, and leave the rest.
Exactly. That's on a lot of episodes, people will hear me say, one of my favorite expressions, eat the fish, spit out the bones, right? So absolutely. That's where you eat the fish, and you know what? If you find a bone, you don't have to crunch on the bone. Otherwise, you'll end up choking on it. You don't want to do that either.
Everything you do, every modality or every facilitator or everything has its own point of view.
Yeah.
You pick what works for you and you leave the rest. You don't have to align and agree to everything that the modality teaches you or the facilitator tells you.
Yeah.
Because your universe, your world is different from my universe, my world, and yet we are the same.
Yes. And like you said, everything keeps changing. So, I mean, I've seen it before where a certain tool works brilliantly in one situation, and then in the next one, it falls flat. It's not actually a contribution. And so something else may assist. Or, sometimes we're in a place where we're just not willing to receive from a particular way of moving the energy. And so choosing something else can sometimes just shift things enough to be able to choose maybe what is going to have a greater impact. But if we can't access what's going to have a greater impact today, and choosing something else gets us to the willingness to have access to that other possibility.
That's precisely what happens in my sessions, is that people will ask me that, okay, what will we do in the sessions? But then each session is different. So in one session, I may do NLP or regression, and the other session would be just bars or some energy work or SOP or whatever that contributes to the person. So there is nothing that is fixed.
Yeah.
What may work for you today may not work for you tomorrow.
Yeah. And I know, I think for some people it's like, but that's a problem, right? Like, wait, I just want to know like the thing that's going to work. And then I don't want to have to keep trying to figure things out. And it's like, well, but you don't have to figure it out. You just have to kind of relax and be willing to have a sense of what is and what else can be, and then ask, what is actually going to contribute here.
So how about doing a clearing on that? So what energy, space, and consciousness can you and your body be to embrace change with total ease?
Yeah. Yes.
That's the question you can ask every day.
Yeah. Yeah.
What fun can you have with change today?
Yes.
What if change is not painful? What if change is not stressful? What if change does not come with suffering?
Yes.
What if change is actually easy, as easy as changing clothes?
Yeah. And how ironic is that we often will choose problems over what lies beyond problems to avoid pain, when actually the pain that we think might be beyond the problems doesn't exist. And yet we're wallowing in the pain here, afraid to change. It's like, but I know this pain, so maybe it's not so bad. I don't know what's coming up there.
Absolutely. What if change is an invitation to a different possibility?
Yes. Yes. Excellent. Well, thank you so much for just for opening this space for all of us to really begin to perceive a little bit more where we play this game, and where maybe there are things that starting right now today, we can look at a little bit differently, and we can play with, and that we don't have to be the effect of, and that we don't have to be prisoner to or victim to or subject to. Yeah, so thank you for that. So for anyone watching, if you would like to get in touch with Kiran and be able to work with her, see what programs she has available, try out some of those amazing bath salts. Her website will be in the show notes, so that link will be there, easy for you to find and to get to. I know that you do one-to-one sessions, as well as you do. I know you do group work and sessions and classes and things like that. So is there any other, you also have a Facebook page, I believe, that people can find you at?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So
Kiran Chandanj.
Okay, excellent.
Hardly active.
What's that?
The page is hardly active.
Okay, well, the website, because I know that is very active. So we will we'll post that, and then of course you can find her on Facebook if you do a search and you'd like to find her there. So thank you so much for joining us today. I really appreciate it. Is there anything else that you would like to offer as we close?
What else is possible? What else can we create together?
Yeah.
And thank you for the space that you be, and thank you for what you're creating in the world.
Oh, well, thank you. And thank you for contributing. It's really great to have you. Yeah, and thank you everyone watching. Thank you for being here today and in the future. There's an energy that you bring to each of these episodes, and it's pretty amazing to perceive how this wiggles out into the world. And I wonder what ripples it will create, and what change it can create in your life. Wonderful, magnificent, not scary at all change. So thank you so much, everyone. If you do like the show and you have not yet subscribed to the YouTube channel, please do so. Also, please
Please
like,
do so.
what? Yes. Please like the Art of Creation show on Facebook as well. We do a lot of live episodes, so if you turn on the notifications, you will know when we go live, and you can hop on with us with your questions. So happy choosing. Have a great week until next week. I wonder what you will create until we see each other again, and I wonder what we'll discover next. Goodbye, everyone.